Hi, my name is Harvey Buchanan, and I'm a certified lay servant at Whitehall United Methodist Church. I'm also a member of the LGBTQ plus task force, a task force helping to equip congregations in the Arkansas Conference with the tools and resources to help foster the tolerance, acceptance, and inclusion of queer people in our churches. Over the next couple of minutes, I would like to just walk you through my personal faith story. I only really started going to church as a kid when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I was being brought by a great aunt on my mom's side of the family. After a little bit, the rest of my family started to come as well. My father got involved as a lay servant when I was a kid, and eventually, when I was 8 or 9 years old, I was baptized on a Palm Sunday. I was not old enough to make an independent profession of faith, but it was my idea to get baptized. I remember reading the Gospel of John with my dad as preparation for my baptism. And I even had such strong faith as a kid that I was determined to go into ministry. If you can imagine a fifth grader saying that I'm going to be a pastor when I grow up with their full chest, with full confidence, if that's even something possible for you to conceptualize, I was that kid. But things changed when I got a little bit older and I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I first realized that I was queer in some way, shape, or form. There was one Sunday when the pastor was out on vacation, and we had a layperson who was leading service. And it was during the sermon that this layperson gave a really homophobic portion of the sermon. And this homophobic tangent made me feel horrible. I will never forget the set of emotions that ran through me as a queer kid, thinking that my church would always be a safe place. I hate that when talking about my experiences with homophobia and transphobia and any form of general queer phobia, that the first place I truly encountered anything like that was in church. It's something that sticks with you when that is your experience. I remember going into the bathroom and crying my eyes out because I felt like God did not love me and I felt like God didn't want me. And it was this experience that made me denounce Christianity through my teenage years. I sought spirituality in alternative forms of religion. And it was under the rationale of, why would I want to participate in a religion that ultimately tells people to hate people like me, even though one of the biggest messages that Christians preach is to love one another? That Jesus' second greatest commandment to us was to love our neighbors. First, to love God, but secondly, to love our neighbors. Needless to say, I didn't really willingly go back to church until I was well into my 20s. And so when I got back to my 20s, I felt a strange pull within me to go back to church. And when I went back to church, I found the sermon that seemed to heal that wound that was made in my heart when I was a child. I heard a sermon about the lost sheep. That message about how God never stops searching for the sheep in his flock that wanders away really hit something in me. And that moment, sitting there listening to that sermon, is what I personally refer to as my own Alder's Gate moment. And from there, back a year or two ago, I'm kind of blanking on the timeline, I did a reaffirmation of faith where I made a full independent profession of faith and finally became a full member of the United Methodist Church, the church that had grown me up and nurtured me. And now I'm back on a path towards ministry. I hope one day to work as a hospital chaplain, specializing in working with people in hospice and palliative care.